All right. Well, thank you and welcome back, everyone, for what is really our second half of our interview with the Oceanside High School Key Club with our co-presidents, Nikki DePace and Emma Olenek, as well as their Oceanside High School Key Club faculty advisor, Jeremy Zilbert. As we had stated previously, for those who are joining us maybe for the first time, the Oceanside High School Key Club is a service leadership program which is sponsored by the Oceanside Kiwanis Club. And the Oceanside Kiwanis Club, like all Kiwanis clubs that do sponsor key clubs, take great pride in their key clubs and all the work that's done. And we have a fantastic group of students. Was mentioned earlier, we actually have approximately 370 dues-paying members of the Oceanside High School Key Club, which is a number that is almost difficult to comprehend. I'm sure not everyone comes to the meetings, maybe not even half of them, but still, when you try to think of the number of people and the number of students that are involved in the organization, especially for a high school organization, it is quite remarkable. We're going to continue on now asking about some of the fundraisers that the Key Club has done specifically over this past year. What are some of the key fundraisers that the club has organized, and what are the causes that the club supports?
So the causes that we do really come in three different categories. There are the Key Club endorsed causes. And as you guys may know, there is, just as Kiwanis has their leadership structure by state and internationally, Key Club also has divisions and districts and whatnot. And every year, our new governor, our new board does put forth a governor's project and other areas of focus for New York State Key Club. And so we will often have at least one of those focus areas as a cause that we end up donating money to. So we've already donated money to the Arthritis Foundation on that front this year. In past years, it included such organizations like Project Hope and Alex's Lemonade Stand. And then we also like to donate to Kiwanis endorsed causes as well. And the two main ones that our particular club has done are Camp Kiwanis, we've done a few times. And then the last 2 years, we've done the Kiwanis Pediatric Trauma Center. And then finally, we also like to have a local impact as well with our donations. So we look for organizations that are close by, whether it's within Oceanside itself, such as the Oceanside Scholarship Fund or Oceanside Community Service, or an organization we know is impacting us, but also areas around us, like the Ronald McDonald House. So those kind of three-level organizations are what ends up getting our donations.
And, you did point out something that's very unique to the Key Club, is Key Club has all different dimensions to it, which makes it very different than most clubs in the high school. You are a high school club, but you're also a sponsored club and have the affiliation with the Oceanside Kiwanis Club, which is the local community civic organization. You also have an affiliation with the other key clubs within your division, which I believe is Division 7, which encompasses neighboring high schools like Baldwin and Freeport and East Rockaway and Long Beach and Hewlett and Lawrence, Valley Stream. So there is a connection that the club has to maintain through those also. There's also connections on the bigger scale with New York State and internationally. And correct, we didn't even get into those different dimensions and dynamics of Key Club, of having its own elected district governor, which is a high school student, an international Key Club international president, which is also a high school student. So there are a lot of different moving pieces in Key Club, which I think adds to the challenges and the responsibilities that go into the organization, and something that is definitely appropriate for more in-depth discussions on their own at a later point in time. It is a great point to bring up that those connections that they have. But along the same lines, can you share the planning process that you've had for one of your most successful fundraising events?
One of our most successful fundraising events is the popcorn sale that we do through Double Good. At first meeting for the popcorn sale, we have everyone download the Double Good app and join our fundraiser. They send it to their families and friends and try to sell as much popcorn as possible. And then at the meeting after, like the next Monday meeting, we split up the cafeteria and we have people that have sold on one side and people that haven't sold anything on the other side. And we try to encourage people that like haven't sold yet to keep trying to sell, send it to whoever they can, last minute, whatever. And then when this fundraiser is over, all the money that we have, we donate it to different fundraisers or different things. If you sold popcorn, you get pizza. So give an incentive to sell the popcorn.
How does the club make the decision with all the members on where the donations are going?
In the past, we've had officers bring charity to Mr. Zilbert's attention about where we want the money to go. For example, me and some of the other current officers and also some of the past officers last year, we have a very close friend who you might have heard of, Ava Salonia, who passed away from acute myeloid leukemia. And so we've wanted multiple times for money to go to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in any way that it can. So we have officers bring suggestions about charities. Then at our club meetings, when we have a time for a donation like coming up, we do a vote for the whole club to say like, yes, we're okay with the money going here.
And I know Jeremy had mentioned before that in the past, there were some donations that were made to the Camp Kiwanis, which is under the New York District Foundation, the Kiwanis Foundation. And I know last year there was a donation made to the Kiwanis Pediatric Trauma Center that actually purchased a pediatric trauma kit for 2 of the elementary schools. And I believe a similar donation and purchase of 2 kits is being done this year also. I know I did speak to our past governor, Joe Carres, who wanted me to extend his appreciation for the donation and the efforts. And you've met him. He spends a tremendous amount of time trying to get the word out of the work and the efforts that that foundation does. And they're very appreciative of the donations. So thank you on behalf of them. And of course, also on behalf of the District Foundation for the donations.
Of course.
Let's talk about service projects a little bit. What types of service projects does the club participate in?
We have 3 different categories of service projects. The first would be collections, where we've done food drives for the turkey shoot that we do through Oceanside High School. Last year, we had a shoe collection to donate shoes for people in need. We did a Halloween costume collection. And then we do service project, where we have different events, like the holiday happenings through Kiwanis, and then the Super Bowl Sunday breakfast, where we have people volunteer at those. And then we have blood drive.
Are there any recent or upcoming service projects that you guys are excited about?
So we have this one project that we've been working on since like August, I think. And basically, Mr. Zilbert brought this to our attention first. And from our popcorn fundraiser last year, we raised a lot of money and we have $10,000 that we have nowhere to put it yet. And so it was Mr. Zilbert's idea to come up with this contest where club advisors in our school would submit ideas of where this money can be put that will benefit the entire school or even our community. And we finally just got it starting and it's been put out to the club advisors in our school and they're going to start submitting ideas for their club on where this money's going to go.
That's absolutely amazing.
And I want to give special credit, not Emma, Nikki, for sure, but our officers as a whole were willing to do virtual meetings in the summer, which is something that a lot of clubs, don't seek to do. But I'm very thankful our officers are up for that kind of task, and they have participated in more meetings with our student activities director, our principal, than what you would normally expect a student to have to sit through. So they made a timeline for all the steps that could go into this process. And really what just got sent out to the staff a few days ago, they finally were notified in an email about it, is really based on the efforts of what the officers were putting in for all of these months to try and make such a comprehensive outline of steps appear pretty manageable for the rest of the clubs in our school.
How does the Key Club collaborate with local organizations or even with the other clubs in the schools or other organizations around to be able to make a greater impact?
Local organizations have been able to reach out to our school. Sometimes they reach out to other faculty members in the school, administrators. Sometimes the district office has come to me with requests from local organizations and asked if Key Club is up to the task, of which we are usually up to the task. We're usually willing to do so. There are times when students have their own organizations that they want to put forth with a Key Club service idea. Just last year, we had a group of seniors that's now graduated. They had the Oceanside Dog Rescue Club. This year, there's a group of students that are putting together these kindness kits. So we did that's, as Nikki mentioned before, we do collections. One of our collections this year were these kindness kits, for some people in need. So when those ideas are brought to our attention, we try and take on as many as we can handle. When it comes to the faculty, our club has done a lot of partnerships over the years with the other clubs in the school, where the idea we just mentioned with the $10,000, that has a huge financial component to it. Most of our partnerships we are performing service with another club. We have put flags down, actually with Kiwanis' help, we've put down flags to commemorate 9/11 and the recovery from it with our school's Patriot Club. We have helped make lunches with Habitat for Humanity. We have done a recycling effort with our Model UN Club to help raise money for a water filling station or water filtered station for the high school. We have raised money for the tornado victims in Kentucky last year with our Amnesty International Club. I mean, the list goes on and on of how many organizations in the school that we've partnered with. And of course, as I mentioned in our previous episode, the honor societies come to us looking for opportunities that their members can participate in to get ideas as well. So I like to think that our club, with its size, is seen by the other clubs as almost like a web that they can kind of join in at different points throughout the year and try and partner with us.
And for Nikki and Emma, especially as students who are seniors that are going to be graduating soon, what advice would you give to students who are considering joining the Key Club?
The best advice that I would give to someone joining Key Club is to get as involved as possible and to make sure Mr. Zilbert knows you, like get to know him, get involved, like sign up for as many events as you can, make yourself known.
Emma, anything you would like to add to
I
that?
feel like a lot of people, especially like freshmen, they may think like, oh, community service is boring. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my time doing that. But I would advise them that it's really not. It makes you feel really good about yourself. And also that the events are not boring, especially when you're with your friends. And Mr. Zilbert really makes an effort to make sure that like friends together so they can do it together. And it really is a good time.
And in a lot of ways, you can use that to recruit additional people. Not that you have an issue or problems recruiting, but you're not just looking at necessarily at the one person, but a person come with all their friends and then they feel more comfortable and becomes a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Seth, I saw it firsthand this year. The Key Club came out to our tree lighting, and there was at each table there was a group of people from Key Club, and everybody had a ball. It was really a good time.
Yeah, and you could tell that the students are having a great time as well. I mean, it's not just providing the service, but they're enjoying the activity, being there, the service that's being provided. And when we talk about skills, what are the types of skills that you feel that members of the Key Club can learn and pick up by being involved?
I would say that responsibility is a big part of being in the club because there's meetings every Monday. So it's their job to come to those meetings, and it's their job to keep up to date with like the Google Classroom if a meeting's ever canceled or something like that. Also, if they sign up for an event, that's their job to make sure that they're at that event or contact Mr. Zilbert if they can't make it. And also there's deadlines with dues and collections, so they have to be on top of deadlines.
It's always important to be on top of deadlines.
Yeah.
Anyway, to make sure nothing's missed and everything, you dot the I's across the T's.
What are your goals for the club this year, and how do you guys plan on achieving them?
An ongoing goal for our club is always to just get as many members as possible in. We've achieved that. I mean, we have a lot of dues paying members. The best way to like have that goal be met is to make sure we're continuously posting on Instagram and different like social medias to show people that it's not just about like the volunteering is obviously great, but it's also a lot of fun. Like we enjoy being at the events and it just feels really good to be there. And then also I would say another goal is to make sure that our $10,000 like award goes to something that's really going to benefit our school and our community as best.
Awesome. I mean, this has got to be almost a record number, right, of members?
For us, it certainly is. There might be one school in the city that has I forget, it might be some school in the Bronx, I want to say, has maybe like 500 or 600 members.
Wow.
But outside of that, it's really us and Lynbrook around here are up over 300. But then the other schools in our division are much smaller. And yeah, we're definitely number 2 or 3 in the state as far as I know.
It's got to be close to 25% of the high school's members, pretty much.
Yeah,
right?
it's approaching that number.
How can members of the community support the Key Club and its mission?
They can be part of our collections as long as, as Nikki just said, with us putting things out on social media, and just make sure we publicize that information. Community members can donate items when we're asking for it. We do at least a handful of collections every year. They could donate blood at our blood drives because as the years have gone on, we try and have at least 2 community blood drives a year in addition to our student blood drives that we have. They can keep, this sounds pretty simple, but it actually goes a long way. They could just keep providing the car rides to their members to get to all of these events, right? The members can't show up unless their families are there supporting them. And they could also be joining Kiwanis because a lot of the things that we do are supported by Kiwanis, whether it's the Kiwanis events that we are volunteering at, whether it is Kiwanis giving money for our organization to be able to supply scholarships. Kiwanis has actually in recent years in Oceanside upped their number of scholarships that they provide for Key Club seniors to 7, I think in part due to the recognition that our membership has grown so much that we need more scholarships to be at a commensurate level with the amount of senior members that we have. So we appreciate that. So the more that our families in this community can support Kiwanis, definitely the better off Key Club is.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that I know the Kiwanis Club appreciates, and something that we always look also as an important recruitment tool and piece ourselves. Is people with students like Nikki and Emma going back and talking to your parents about the things that are going on and things that they could do, and they could look at and marvel at all the wonderful community service events and projects that you participate in the same light. You can turn to them and say, well, you could do the same thing, because it exists for the adults in the community as well in the Oceanside Kiwanis Club. So that's always a big selling point. And when you have so many students, at some point that message works both ways. You know, the parents go down to the kids with it, and the kids, of course, talk to their parents about it. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that maybe you haven't discussed yet or mentioned about the Oceanside High School Key Club?
For me, Key Club is just like probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever been a part of. And even aside from the community service, the friendships and relationships I've made, like I've become friends with people who I never would have known outside of Key Club. I've gotten so much closer to Nikki. We've known each other since elementary school, but we became so much closer. I built a relationship with Mr. Z, and that never would have happened without Key Club. And really, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made to join it and become an officer.
Nikki?
I would just say join. My freshman year, I didn't join any clubs, and I regret that. Join as soon as you can, because it really is a great club, and it's just an amazing experience, and I think everyone should join.
And just to share a couple of parting thoughts. The first is, don't be hesitant to share your ideas and the projects and your fundraisers with the New York District. I know every year New York District has its own annual convention, and you have an opportunity to share all the wonderful work and accomplishments that the club has, so the rest of the district can see it. And while we don't do our projects necessarily for the recognition, it is nice to share, and you can give a lot of times some terrific ideas to other clubs that would have never otherwise thought of these things. And it's also a great opportunity for your club to see what's going on in other clubs throughout New York, and maybe things that you may want to do in the future. So always something to keep in mind. As you're moving on to college and you're concluding your high school years and your time, your service with Key Club, I'll do a pitch for Circle K. So Circle K is the next step up. That is the Kiwanis sponsored service leadership program in the colleges. And Circle Ks are actually, they still really haven't fully recovered from the pandemic. Circle Ks are in many colleges, and if they're not in the college or whatever colleges that you two are going to, most of them say they're always open to new organizations and starting them. And it's a great way to always still keep your foot in the door in the Kiwanis family. You can use your experiences and you can build on it and grow, and you can then share with other people. And a lot of times you'll find yourself with others who were in Key Clubs in their high schools, you know, that just go on. And then others you'll just find that are just interested in getting involved and doing community service when they're in college also. So it is something to definitely look into and to try to continue that legacy as you go forward. And lastly, I would just share, as Jeremy referred to the long history with Key Club. I believe it started in 1947 at Oceanside High School. Considering the Oceanside Kiwanis Club started in 45, it didn't take long before they started the Key Club, and it has been a fabulous relationship over the years. As you pointed out, almost 80 years. There's been a lot of great work and great collaboration between the two organizations. So with that being said, I just want to thank you for being here and sharing your experiences. Wishing you the best of luck going forward, wherever you end up going, and whatever it is that you end up choosing to do as far as a career path. And of course, with Jeremy going forward, coming up with new ideas and keeping Key Club fresh and energetic and vibrant as we move on. So thank you very much. And thank you to everyone for tuning in and sharing this experience with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.